now just wanted to talk to you real quick about hands and forearms and bone structure and how we can set up healthy placement in the hands so that anytime that we're projecting force from the forearm through the wrist, down through the hand into the ground, we're doing it in a healthy way so that we can protect your wrist. This is a big one because one of the most common injuries that we see in sort of a hands on the ground type yoga style is a wrist injury, and it's very often on the outer side of the wrist. So important stuff for us to know. Forearm has two bones. It's got the radius and the ulna. The ulna is larger down towards the elbow joint and does most of the force projection through the elbow joint, either up to the shoulder or from the shoulder down to the forearm. The radius is bigger towards the hand, and that's in charge of projecting force and stabilizing through the wrist, so down from the forearm into the hand, and from the hand back into the forearm. And that's the one that we're going to be concerned with today. The radius is larger and connects down into the hand through the area of your index finger, your middle finger, and your thumb. So when we think about it, these two fingers don't actually have a whole lot of power to project force. When boxers are taught to punch, they're often taught to punch with the first two knuckles. That's because of the way that the bones line up, how the radius meets at that aspect of the hand. We want to do the same thing in a yoga practice. We want to project force from the radius down through the bones of the hand, which means that we're going to be connecting the thumb, the index finger, and the middle finger into the mat. A common misalignment that we see a lot is that when people are setting this stuff up, they're going to roll to the outsides of the hands and start to compress this outside of the wrist joint, and that's no good. That part of the joint is not really built to hold a whole lot of your body weight, especially for a prolonged period of time. So if we're trying to line up with the bone structure, we want to be inside on these two fingers and thumbs. We have something that we call a magic point at Second Circle, and that is this little pad where your index and your middle finger meet the palm, that sort of smushy part right there, that knuckle. That is the magic point, and any time that you are grounding your hands into the floor, getting that to land is going to be really, really good and stable for you. And you can overdo this a little bit just to really pattern it in. One of the practices that I like to do in my own sort of day-to-day work on the mat is project the magic point and the meat of the thumb on the palm down into the mat, and then try to float the pinky finger. That's a little bit of a challenging one. We can work on that long term, but what we really want to emphasize is this inner work in the hand. That's going to help us drive energy up through the bone structure towards the shoulder. We'll talk about how to set your shoulders in a later video, but for now, remember, this is our magic point. This is where we project force through our bone structure into the mat, and we want to make sure that we're not over compressing on the outside of your wrist. All right, that's it for today. Take care. Have a healthy practice.